After years of anticipation, I have finally begun to make a YouTube video. People are constantly seeking my advice on a variety of personal matters because I tend to be good at those type of things. So today I am going to give some advice based on a recent experience about how to break up with a friend. I'm going to tell a story about something that I recently did when I had a friend I wanted to break up with, and I did successfully. And then I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with that. So I had this friend, Joseph, for many years. He went to high school with me. He went to middle school with me. He went to mommy and me classes with me. And we had a pretty close relationship. I think a couple times in high school he did steal a couple of pencils out of my locker, but other than that, we had the type of bond where we were really open and honest with each other about what we needed and what we wanted out of life. But recently, in the past few months, I've noticed the past couple times he's been coming over to my house and he's been trying to take my fridge. Did this both while I was in the house, while I was out of the house. He tried to break in and steal my refrigerator, and he also tried to break in with a few of his friends in the middle of the night and steal it while I was not paying attention or while I was sleeping. Was after this last time he tried to take it, which was like the 5th time in as many days, I realized that I kind of needed to distance myself from this man. And the way that I did that was in the way that I do everything, which is completely roundabout, unnecessary, and pretty high risk as well, but it was fun and it was very effective. So what I did was, instead of trying to be mean to him or nasty, telling him you gotta stop stealing my fridge, try to convince him that I was totally different than the person that he used to know. So what I did was I bought him a refrigerator, brand new. Went online to the fanciest website, straight on AliExpress. They shipped it to me, right? I had to assemble it myself. I invited Joseph over and I said, "Yo, Joseph, we're going to take this fridge that I just bought and we're going to bring it to your house." But what he did not know about is that before I called him up, I cut a little slit out of the bottom of the fridge so it wasn't quite stable on its own, and I inserted a wood plank underneath so that the fridge would be stable. And I found a remote that I programmed, and I could click a button and the wood would slide out, making the fridge unstable and prompting it to fall forward. So what I did is Joseph and I helped move this refrigerator to Joseph's house. Right, I filled it up with a bunch of food, is what I told him. But I made sure that he didn't see inside yet. So we're unpacking this fridge, and we have it standing up against his wall in the kitchen. And all of a sudden, I press the button, the detonator sort of, in my pocket. The wood panel slides out, fridge starts falling. Right? Boom, crashes into the ground. So now all the food that was in there now comes tumbling out. Fortunately, none of us were hurt. I made sure of that. I made sure that, Joseph's property wasn't damaged either. His stone, his floor, whatever, his kitchen. And so I'm sort of standing by now, watching Joseph, how he's reacting to the situation, because I knew that this was going to happen all along. I noticed that Joseph at first he's very distraught, obviously, but then he starts looking at the food. And, he sees the delicacies that I put in there. Went out into the yard and got some mud, and I sort of formed it into a burger and then kind of sealed it off and froze it. So it was like a mud burger, and I had labeled them like mud burger. And then I also had taken some of my baby teeth from when I was a kid and sort of grinded them up into this kind of like a hummus-like paste that you could use as a dip, and you could also like put into a smoothie for a little bit of enrichment. And I had labeled it as such, like baby teeth, mixed. I also got him another delicacy that I have been working on these past few weeks, which are pickled oranges. Take a few oranges of different varieties, obviously, some Cara, some Navel, some Sunkist, and just sort of put them all in there, grind and all, and then, boom, you got some pickled oranges. And so I labeled them as such, And clearly, I was watching this guy's face, and, he was quite disgusted. He tells me to leave, and I have not heard from him since. So pretty effective strategy, and all I really learn is that, I'm weird. What are you going to say to that? There's nothing illegal about grinding up your own baby teeth or making pickled oranges, right? It's just, it's what I had to do in the situation. Give some tips on how to break up with a friend. So the first step is that you have to realize that when you break up with a friend, or that you do the action that's going to lead to the breakup, that you might not talk to them again. Whether you do what you sought out to do correctly or not, there's always going to be that possibility that someone that your friend knows might be really close with you, and then maybe they find out about what you did and they're not so interested in hanging out anymore. The number 2 strategy is that you're going to carefully assess the friendship. Discover what makes this guy tick, or girl, or whoever. What do they respond to? And how close are you with them? Once you've answered these questions, you're going to be much more likely to do something that is effective in terms of making them want to sever ties with you forever. And remember, key is here, you're not going to hurt them, you're not going to say anything mean. No physical, no emotional, anything. Right? The only thing that you're going to do is convince the friend that you are so strange / so different from who they thought you were that they realize they don't even want to be friends with you anymore. Step 3 would be to do something, to come up with a plan like I did with Joseph, and execute, which in my case worked out to perfection. But I've done this many times before, and maybe in the future I'll share some other stories about things that I did, times where I did the same thing that I did to Joseph. And then the 4th step, obviously, once you've executed your plan and it's worked, then you reap the rewards. You don't have that person in your life anymore. Congratulations, you win. So that's my piece of advice for today. I hope everybody enjoyed this content, and there's going to be more coming in the future. So take it easy, and I am out.